Well, certainly by my mid-20s, I had two key objectives. First of all, to be self-sufficient in later life. Nobody's going to fire me. And secondly, to get out of this rat race in a way at the age of 55. And in order to achieve that, of course, you've got to work hard. You know, you've got to be committed, you've got to really drive on, even if you're not the smartest guy, you know, in the office, which I wasn't, but I was probably the hardest working, right? And if you've got that commitment and that drive and determination to be indispensable, and I didn't leave the office at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock. In fact, there were times when we had offices in Panton Street, just off Leicester Square. I used to lock myself in a cupboard because the concierge would come around to make sure everybody had left. I used to stick myself in this cupboard until he had gone. Why? Because the job had to be done and I was going to be determined to do it. That led me on to a situation whereby I was able, when I owned my own company, to sell it at the age of 55. And guess what? I'd achieved what I'd always dreamt of, the possibility, the opportunity to travel and to be self-sufficient in late middle age, early old age. If there's one theme that's run throughout my life, I guess it's the desire, determination to be master of my own destiny. From a young age, from taking out a pension, the determination to be master of my own destiny when I was in business, so that I left the company I was with. And when I came back, it was on the terms of getting a directorship, and following that directorship, it was getting a shareholding. And actually following that, it was getting a parity of 50% of the shares. And having got 50% of the share in my name, I did a deal with the owner. I'll forego future profits for 3 or 4 years, which will enable you to plough that same amount of money into your pension, so that you will have a sort of a happy retirement. And that it worked perfectly. I was looking after my future by getting the shares. He was looking after his future by getting paid for releasing his shares. Clever deal, and it worked very, very well. Those two factors, the pension and selling the company, enabled me to take advantage of all the opportunities that came up afterwards. But being master of my own destiny was the important milestone in that career.